We may remember last September, a massive moose antler sculpture was stolen from the Canada Game Centre, called one of the largest art heists in the territory's history. It went missing during a power outage. Now, so far, Whitehorse RCMP have not located the sculpture. In just a few minutes, we'll speak to Shane Wilson, the former Yukon artist who created it. But first, Laurel Perry is here. She's the manager of the Yukon Arts Branch. How does the government insure, or does it insure, its art in the permanent collection?
Well, this is kind of the question, because there's kind of two things at play here. The government itself follows a self-insured policy, which is because it owns so many assets, including buildings and everything else, that the premiums and the deductions would be so high that they actually follow a self-insured program, and that also applies to the arts. In many public galleries, like even the very senior world collections, they also don't insure works in their collections. Galleries tend to insure works for traveling because of the chances of things maybe going wrong are a little higher in travel and transit, and of course the premiums and the deductible is more manageable in that case. So what we're struggling with, we haven't even contemplated yet what to do, because we're still hoping for its recovery, and I'd like to take the opportunity of this interview to welcome anybody who knows anything or thinks they know somebody to contact the RCMP with their information, because this piece belongs to the people of the Yukon. It was generously donated by the artist for the enjoyment of people, and we'd like to see it returned. How does
the government decide where it's going to show off bits?
Well, this is the other matter that is always a dilemma for any manager of any public art collections. The Yukon Permanent Art Collection is comprised of 291 pieces. This does not include all the public art that we have, around the city of Whitehorse, and so what we do. The dilemma lies in, when do you display work? Like, you collect work for two reasons. One, to collect it to document the art's development and to create a collection that's, coherent and worthy. And then the other part of it is to make sure that we share it with the public. And our philosophy is that, wherever possible, the work is on display. It's in rotation. And we put it throughout the Yukon in public buildings, and we're actually adding more places to display work as opposed to sort of cracking down on it.
Well, in this case, it was stolen during a power outage. Now, apparently Linda Rapp, the manager of Parks and Rec, says the centre has enhanced its backup power and has additional money in the city's proposed 2008 capital budget for security cameras and other security equipment. So but as you say, you're looking at even displaying more. This isn't making you think of drawing back at the Canada Game Centre. Are you satisfied that it has the security?
Well, we work really well with the City of Whitehorse Parks and Rec Department, because not only at the Canada Game Centre, they also have their own public art collection there as well. So it's a showcase for Yukon art. But in public sculpture, we've worked with them, and we are satisfied that they take as many steps as possible. They actually know a lot more about public vandalism and all that, then, because they have other assets, of course, in the centre. So their interest is the same as ours in making the public, making this centre available to the public, but also working as strongly as possible with security. So we are satisfied with them as a partner.
And again, this isn't making you think twice of perhaps keeping art back?
No, I mean, we always, look, we take as many steps as we can, reasonable measures, so that we can, deal with theft or damage. But the collections also rotate. So, these are things that we, the experts who work for us, this is the kind of work that they do.
Laurel Perry, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Laurel Perry is the manager of the Yukon Arts Branch. And of course, she's also a New Day's art contributor. And you can hear that on Fridays. We're just coming up to 13 minutes before 8 o'clock. Now, Shane Wilson is the artist who created the moose antler sculpture that went missing. He donated the work to the city. And Wilson now lives in Nanaimo, British Columbia. And we reached him at his home. Good morning.
Good morning, Sandy.
Shane, how concerned are you that your work has still not been found?
Well, what can you say, really? I mean, I was pleased to donate it to the Permanent Art Collection. The folks at the Arts Branch and with economic development and so on have been so supportive over the years to arts and culture, and especially in support of myself as well. And so to give something back, to recognize Ruth McCullough for her work specifically with the visual arts, and to put a piece that I'd worked on for 3 years on public display so that everyone could have a chance to see it. That was the intention. Now that it's gone, the truth is it was donated. It belongs to the permanent collection, so it is gone. And the intention of displaying it is foiled in that sense, but what can you do,
Are you surprised it was such a large piece? Are you surprised that it hasn't been found yet?
Again, I think if someone wants to steal something, they're going to try and keep it concealed, or it depends on what happened to it, in terms of where it went. So I guess I'm not surprised that it hasn't been found. Oftentimes these things, when they do get found, they're found by a series of coincidences, it's still possible that it could turn up sometime in the future.
Do people continually try to give you leads on it, or do you do some of your own investigation? We've got the RCMP looking into it, but it must be curiosity on your part too to try to find it.
Well, yeah, there's not much I can do personally. My daughter started a group on Facebook, which a number of people have joined. People have been very supportive, very understanding. And I think one of the folks on Facebook thought they saw the piece on a used art and furniture site out of Victoria. We followed up on that, but we didn't spot it there. So they must have seen something else and just thought maybe that was it.
Does this give you concerns about donating pieces of art that in the future?
Well, it did initially. I wasn't aware that most collections were not insured. The collections that I've spoken to, the other collections in the Yukon I've spoken to, are insured. But the truth of it is, when you create something that takes 3 years, as anyone knows who's worked on a project for 3 years, and when it's gone, it's pretty hard to replace. You can do something else, but insurance isn't going to bring that back. So, I guess if the collection or if the government at some point decides that they'd like to have something to take the place of that sculpture, then I'd be open to that possibility.
Well, you kindly donated this time round. Do you have some other pieces in the permanent art collection?
Yeah. A few years ago, I think around 2000, I donated on a 50-50 basis a small stone raven head sculpture called a Bringer of Light. And of course, the Canada Games torch, the Yukon torch, which Northern Vision Development commissioned, was also donated to the collection, or at least it's on display anyway.
It is
in Canada Games Centre.
And do you have concerns about it being on display in the same spot where the other one was taken from?
No, I'm sure that they've tightened up any sort of holes in the security system by this point.
Well, Shane, as you mentioned, it's not replaceable. It's that antler that the Yukon wants back, and you obviously would like to see back in our hands. Is there anything else you'd like to see done at this point?
Well, I think that everything is being done that can be done. People are aware that it's missing. The images are on the website for people to see. The police are obviously open to any leads, and we'll just wait and see. It sure would be great to have it back.
It certainly would. Shane, just that website for people who want to take a look at it.
Well, to be honest, I think it's my website. The images are on my website, www.shanewilson.com. But there is a Facebook group that people in Facebook can join, and I believe it's called Stolen Art ... help. !
Very fitting.
I'm not kidding. No, my daughter did it, and I'm very appreciative.
Well, Shane, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Sandy, for covering this again, and hopefully something can come of it.
Well, stay in touch.
All right.
We've been speaking to Shane Wilson, a former Yukon artist. He now lives in Nanaimo, British Columbia.